All right, let's put that out there. Bookshelf tour continues. We are into R's at the moment. We'll see if we stay in R's or how organized I am. We start off with a big whack of books that I have. Alistair Reynolds, which here, let's just put them like that. We've got Absolution Gap, Pushing Ice, Chasm City, Redemption Arc, Century Rain, and Revelation Space, which I think is the big first one of the series. Alistair Reynolds, British science fiction writer, kind of doing slow space opera. There's no faster than light speeds here. Everyone has to take gigantic chasms of space. He is, I believe, an astrophysicist in his day job, if he still has his day job, if he's not just a fabulously wealthy author. I think I just took a couple of pictures. A fabulously wealthy author. That's interesting. If I could take pictures during this, that would be very handy for my for doing thumbnails. Okay, sorry, sidetrack. Yeah, so that's probably one of the striking features of, like, everyone has to, like, I think there's gigantic distances. I think people go into deep sleeps or something like that. Also notable that this is so far in the future that there are sort of different evolutionary tracks of human beings who are more machine than people, that are biologically altered. There's some sort of a plague phage thing that's actually infected some of the more mechanical creatures that is slowly kind of creeping throughout the society, and it's like you can see this is sort of going to eventually bring the society down, but it's always just sort of there in the background. They're very, very detailed books. These are kind of pre me being on BookTube, so I actually just kind of this is definitely me. Just I sort of read them and enjoyed the stories that were in them, but didn't really retain a ton of them, which I think is why I've kept them. Is like I enjoyed them and they were quite good kind of science fiction space operas in their way, but I didn't. I haven't really retained the memory of them, so I've kept them around to probably reread them at some point. I think there was also just sort of these highly advanced tools that they find. Actually, that might be a different series. But yeah, so I like them so much that I've kept them, but I can't remember them, which is also why I've kept them. So yeah, that is them. Then we will go on to my Joanna Russ collection. Let's start off with the big one, which is The Female Man, which follows all the different Joans through different kind of different alternatives. It's probably what you would call one of these. It's a feminist science fiction. If you're gonna a great thing of feminist science fiction. Living in an altered past that never saw the end of the Great Depression, Janine, a librarian, is waiting to be married. Joanne, a 1970s feminist, is trying to succeed in a man's world. Janet is from While Away, a utopian Earth where only women exist. And Jael is from an Earth in the not-so-distant future with separate and warring female and male societies. When these four women meet, the results are startling, outrageous, and subversive. So yeah, really interesting book. It did have, I know there's issues with it, with kind of a treatment of trans people, trans women in it. Joanna Russ, actually, to her credit, actually came out later saying, yeah, that's something that I completely messed out about, and was able to kind of own that, which is something nice, because I mean, especially in the society at the moment where we go through so much change, and things that you thought were perfectly reasonable and proper a few years ago, you suddenly get educated and you realize, and everyone around you suddenly gets educated and realizes, well, that was never okay. And so I really respect her for that, for that. I don't know how how trans people feel about her. But yeah, yeah. So, but you know, making an effort, which some some people in feminist community didn't have not done. Joanne Russ, Picnic on Paradise Rock. Um, the two of them. My thing. The Adventures of Alex. Alex, which are fun books with a crossover with Fritz Lieber's the Mauser, his Gray Mauser series, I believe. Extraordinary people with a very kind of what looks to me like a Atwoodian Handmaid's Tale kind of feel to it, probably before Atwood. Zanzibar Cat, and another copy of The Adventures of Alex. Yeah. Next, I have Rudy Rucker. Rudy Rucker, which I, of course, have not. Maybe I've got it. I probably have it in ebook. I've got his wear series, software, wetware, uh, all the other wares. There's it's a quadrology of wear books, which I really enjoyed. They really have a very much of a kind of a Californian feel to them. Like if like weird science, biological science just took off and became freely available in kind of a Silicon Valley kind of more, maybe even more hippie-ish kind of Silicon Valley way, where it basically destroyed kind of the capitalist economy. Like basically there wasn't the need to work anymore, and but also very entrepreneurial and kind of freaky in a kind of a 70s kind of um sex romp kind of way. Really, really interesting books. He is a mathematician by trade, and there's also just like horrifying stuff of just the idea of kind of a soul, because at one point someone gets do they get diced? I think they basically get diced, but they get uploaded into a computer, and then that creation gets treated like a human being, from that the same human being from then on. But it's like, wasn't that person just murdered or died, killed? And then there's this whole new thing. But it's like, no, it's like Rucker kind of puts forward the thing of, nope, it was just a transfer. Whatever that essence of that person was, a transfer of data from one thing to another, and this is the same thing again. I guess it was very, very challenging, very interesting book that way. I've got Mordecai Reichler, who is the Canadian content, I guess, for this thing. I've got St. Urban's Horseman and Duddy Kravitz. I haven't read either of them. As a Canadian, I'm supposed to have some Mordecai Reichler and read some of them, and I haven't yet. Maybe at some point I will. Who knows? Who knows? The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. Another one of those books that I should read at some point, eh? And here we'll do one more Canadian. Leon Rook, who is a Canadian author. This is, The Fat Woman, which I'm sure will. What does it say on the? Oh, it says it. Whatever it says. For the deeply religious Ella May Hopkins, food is both her sanctuary and her cross to bear. Unable to control her appetite, Ella May suffers from guilt and pours pain of a helpless sinner. So, might be a challenging book to read in this day and age. I'm sure this was written like well ago when we probably wouldn't have had 1980. So 80s are not a good time for stuff like that. Here is my only Spider Robinson, which is Time Pressure. Spider Robinson, a American Canadian author. He is born in America but came to Canada. Lived on one of the islands for one of the Vancouver Islands, Gulf Islands, for a good while. I don't know if he does anymore. Probably getting up there in age, so hopefully he is okay. Yes, a strange blue light has brought a visitor from an American commune to Nova Scotia, to an American commune in Nova Scotia. The visitor's name is Rachel, a beautiful woman found from another civilization and another time. Um, yeah, I really liked his. I hate his Callahan books, his Callahan short stories. I find them really mawkish. They're super popular. I think they were his money printer. I actually find his very bad things series just all about kind of people with mental, very kind of 70s kind of like mental powers of control. Really bone chilling, really like psychotic assholes who are wreaking, terrible stuff, almost like Octavia Butler level of kind of stuff. I find those far more interesting books from him. So, and he also has a wonderful reading voice. He read one of John Varley's short stories, which I'll probably get to later on the thing, dealing with kind of disabilities, people with like profound, both profoundly deaf and dumb and blind, and it's just beautiful story. At least I thought so at that point. Let me finish off because I'm probably going out. We're at that point. Let's finish off with Jonathan Raban, English author who emigrated to the United States. Before he did that, before he emigrated to the United States, he wrote some books. One of which is one of my favorite travel books, which is called Coasting, which was taking a sailing ship around a little personal kind of one, all the way around the UK, and it's a travel through the UK history, United Kingdom history, Britain history, but also through his own personal history. He's a gorgeous writer, and that's probably one of my favorite books, favorite travel books. Another one, which is not bad at all, is Passage to Juneau, which is him now in North America, and kind of coming up to the ordinary seaman. The 1,000-mile inside passage between Seattle and Juneau is a rigorous obstacle course of clustered islands, labyrinthine channels, mercurial tides, and boiling whirlpools. When the navigator is Jonathan Raban, though, the passage becomes a canvas of myth and history, art and philosophy, presidium for discourses on the physics of wakes, the worldview of the Northwest Indians, and the contentious voyage of Captain George Vancouver, who charted these waters for England in 1792. It is also a place where one of our most thrillingly erudite and eloquent writers sounds the abyss of his own life. Ooh, that sounds a little bit more pretentious. This has a little bit less of the personal history because he is sort of in a new land. You do see him, but which is probably what makes it less of a favorite read for me, because there's less of that personal history. Still very fascinating. I live on the West Coast. I'm probably one of those points in between Seattle and Juneau. I'm one of those points. I'm probably one of those loser Canadians. He bumps on the way and kind of probably dismisses us as he's going into the far more interesting stuff. Okay, I will stop there and we'll get back to ours next time.